Ridge Holland's current NXT angle where he's, quote, retiring due to the real and storyline injuries wrestlers have suffered in matches with him is one he's been, quote, motivated to do, according to Fightful Select. They add that Holland has been, quote, receptive to suggestions about the program. Right, so apparently this isn't real. I watched this and I was like, okay. And even then, I was like, this has like a 50-50 chance of being a real thing. So my biggest takeaway is that I don't know what his gimmick is going to be when he comes back, because it can't be something where he embraces the injuries, because that wouldn't make sense. And it can't be something where he's like just completely against like hard. Like I was thinking like he can't come back with like a right to censor gimmick, because that wouldn't make any sense. And for those of you who don't know, right to censor was this wasn't it like an Attitude Era gimmick? And it was just the premise was just like, hey, no like vulgar stuff and like, you know, bad violence and all that sort of stuff. So like, Ridge might come back. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like my point is like, I don't want it to come back and be like, no harmful moves or anything like that. So, he's in the alumni section. He's taking suggestions. So, I mean, the good news is that, worst case scenario, it's not going to go in a completely terrible direction, right? So, at the very least, it's just going to be really boring. Which, you know what? I'll take that. So, we'll just have to see how it turns out. Next, while everyone is still working under the belief that Drew McIntyre and WWE will strike a new deal, the word PW Insider Elite has heard out of McIntyre's camp is that nothing's been signed and that being able to focus on family will be a priority as he decides on his next move. He's got this new character, right? And he was like, all right, we've got this new character. We're going to try it out. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to focus on family. But if it does work, then we'll just stick with it. And I like the new character. I like what he's been doing. I like his motivations. So he is here until May. And the last article that I read told me that it told me that NXT Battleground was going to be in May, but now that's going to be moved to June, but that's a story for another time. But the point I'm trying to make is that he's going to be here for quite some time, and so far, he's just on a handshake deal, and again, like I said, there's no ill will or anything, so like it's nothing in the sense of like, oh, you know, I don't want to be here or anything. They just haven't come to a new deal. I'm not sure why. Meltzer was saying that theoretically his asking price should be higher because, you know, he's in a lot, you know, more big programs and stuff like that, and he said that he's going to have a lot more programs to come back to, which does make a lot of sense. I don't really know what they're going to do, to be totally honest. I mean, my whole, I guess, like, standpoint hasn't really changed because, you know, I don't really know why in the first place. Well, it was because of family, which I do understand, and they were saying that they're assuming that he's staying until May because of like injury time and stuff like that. So I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm assuming he's going to resign. That's what it sounds like, right? I think the big question is just how much is it going to get paid and how long is it going to be. I don't think that he's really going to go anywhere else. I mean, I could be wrong, but my money's on him staying with WWE and, you know, just having a fat check to go with it. Moving over to AEW, Mike Santana told Chris Van Vliet that he's, quote, had some discussions with WWE. So he's talked to WWE has talked to him in the past, and that he said that they gave him and Ortiz. He said it was very difficult to turn them down, but they gave Cody's word to AEW, so that's why they went. And he said he didn't want to be another guy on the roster, which I wholeheartedly agree with, right? I think the Appreciation Society was great, and I love Santana and Ortiz, and again, it's sad that they broke up, but I like that Mike wants to move on and do his own thing, right? And, you know, saying that you don't want to be another guy on the roster is really good. It's good to get that out there, right? Because when I was thinking about this initially, I was like, well, he could join the Judgment Day. He would be a nice fit. Or he could join LWO, or, you know, maybe he could. The point I'm trying to make is that he is a good, like, faction member. I know he doesn't want to do that, but, like, he's good at it, right? So, I agree with him wanting to move on. And I feel like WWE maybe just isn't the best place right now. I mean, he could probably do something with NXT, in fairness. They did just get Shawn, but I don't know. That really depends on them right now, which, you know, really goes along with the entire crux of the conversation, as it depends on what WWE wants to do right now. Because I was talking about this before in a previous episode where I was like, oh, WWE just got a couple people and AEW just got a couple people, so I don't know if they're in the market to be scooping anybody up at the moment. So, but he didn't really specifically say he wanted to go to WWE. He was just like, hey, I'm open right now, my finances are good where I don't really have to worry, so I can take my time and really think this through. So he may go to WWE, he may not. At the end of the day, it's really up to him. But I don't know. It really depends on who like extends their hand and then who shakes it. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see. Finally, Fightful Select notes that Monday's Raw segment between CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins was scripted in the sense that it had a, quote, general outline, but they were given leeway to simply go out and get after each other and, quote, go for it. It is such a crime that Punk is injured and he is not, like, somehow more involved, like, performance-wise in this match, and I say that, and maybe I could be wrong, so it sounds like Punk is going to be on commentary. At first, it sounded like it was going to be a special guest referee, but now he said it himself. He was like, hey, it's confirmed. I'm on commentary. Great. It sounds like CM Punk is potentially going to get involved in some manner. I don't know what that means. WrestleMania is still like March. WrestleMania is still like, well, 2 weeks away, like less than 2 weeks away. So like, that's enough time. No, it's not. He's probably not going to get that brace off for maybe like another 3 more months. I don't know how bones work. It sounds like he's going to get involved. It feels like a triple threat anyway, just the way that it's going right now, right? And I like the dynamic between all three of them, between Punk and Rollins, and then Drew and Punk, but then Drew and Rollins. You know what I mean? Like, I like the dynamic between like all three of them and how all three of them like like spinning tops, and how when they run into stuff they like ping off of each. It's like that, the Beyblade with the ring and all that, like that. That's what it makes me think of, and that's why I like this feud so much. So it's very interesting, and I like how it's been building and how Punk was sort of a fixture in the beginning, and now he's like properly found himself a place to wedge in between the both of them, which I think is I don't know. I really like that about this story. So man, I don't know what's gonna happen at Mania. Punk could get involved, and man, I really don't know where that would even go. You know what I mean? Like the amount of variables, it's too much to talk about. So that's a story for another time. What are we talking about? So Rich isn't actually retired. I don't know what they're gonna do with this gimmick. I want to say I hope it's gonna be good. So we're just gonna have to wait and see if that's actually gonna happen or not. All right. So Drew is still here, but he's not gonna be here around I want to say the end of May, and I feel like he's still gonna sign, but it sounds like he might not. But I feel like he will. Mike Santana might go to WWE. I don't think he will. I think he's just gonna, just sort of cruise around, cruising altitude, sort of, not do too much, and really think about where he wants to go, which does make a lot of sense. Again, he said he doesn't want to be another guy on the roster. I feel like, I don't know. It's up to him. It's wherever he decides to go. And the segment between Punk, Drew, and McIntyre was scripted, but it was scripted, quote unquote, but it had a general outline, which I understand. I love this feud. I'm excited for Mania. It sounds like Punk's getting involved. I don't know what that means. He was going to be a ref, which could have potentially meant something, but now he's going to be a commentary, which still could potentially mean something, but I don't know how much it'll mean because you have disqualifications and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. There's so many different variables to talk about that it's not enough to talk about in this format. You know what I mean? So we'll have to elaborate on that. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, big hugs all around.